Putin wants to get the image of the leader of anti-Western bloc. And this is exactly what his Samarkand talks with different leaders, including Xi Jinping, including Erdogan, were about.
There's one story from outside the United Kingdom that quite properly has been making headlines even this week. It is the staggering Ukrainian counteroffensive that pushed Russian forces out of thousands of square miles of previously occupied territory. One of the biggest blows seems to have been to Russian morale and indeed to faith in President Putin. The war effort has been criticized on Russian state television in what was a pretty unprecedented shift against the war in public opinion in Russia.
So could that mean the mood is changing even in the corridors of the Kremlin? Well, Nikolai Petrov is a former advisor to the Russian parliament and senior research fellow on the Russia and Eurasia programme at Chatham House, and he joins us now. Good morning.
Morning.
First off, have you got any sense of the mood inside Russia? Because we've been talking this morning about a potential change and a move against President Putin. Is that accurate?
I don't think so. There are certain shifts in public opinion. There are certain shifts within elites, but it's too early to speak about any radical changes which are already taking place.
So there's no move to remove him then? Because there had been some suggestions during the week that potentially, members of his own party were getting a little bit fed up with the fact that, the Russian military is not making as much progress, had been pushed back inside Ukraine, and there is a renewed effort, if you like, from the West to make sure that Ukraine has everything that it needs to keep pushing forward.
I would say that we can describe the political landscape in Russia as composed by two basic parties. It's not a kind of formal political parties. One of them is a party of moderate war supporters, and Putin belongs to them. And another one is of crazy war supporters, and this is exactly who are criticizing Putin for being not very effective, for not bombing Kyiv, for not bombing Western countries, and so on. So far, Putin looks like, not being in the middle, but being part of more or less moderate supporters of the war. And there is certain criticism, but we cannot speak about Putin's political party, which is criticizing him. There is a kind of political desert in Russia. So there are no political elites in terms of persons who can speak loudly without being afraid to be punished or put into the jail. And we do see certain very slight attempts of low-level public persons, like, say, municipal deputies, to say something criticizing Putin's war.
And just finally, President Putin met with President Xi earlier in the week, and he'd acknowledged that Xi had concerns about the war. What do you make of that? That feels like quite a moment.
I think it's very important to understand that the military failure in northern Ukraine is pretty harmful for Putin, not only domestically but internationally. Putin wants to get the image of the leader of anti-Western bloc, and this is exactly what his Samarkand talks with different leaders, including Xi Jinping, including Erdogan, were about. But what we can see, it's pretty, I would say neutral, but with certain signs of negative reaction from the side of both Chinese and Indian leader to what is going on. That's why Putin needs to demonstrate them that he is not that weak as he looks now.
Nikolai Petrov, thank you for joining us and taking us through that fascinating stuff.